Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. And as many of you know, for 43 years, I've been researching advanced and safe products for longevity and health. So this show will be introducing you to what I feel is the most important and simplest solution to ensure your optimized health. And please note that I don't recommend anything that I haven't personally experienced for years, and also have vetted the entire inventors and everything and checked everything out. So this also is open online for questions, more towards the end if you wouldn't mind, because I'm going to cover a lot, and but we'll hopefully allow about 15 minutes for any questions you have on this matter. So the call-in number is 646-595-4274. I'll repeat it, 646-595-4274. And please feel free to call in. All right, let's get started. So the Dalai Lama once said, it's one of my favorite quotes, "No one is special, yet everyone is unique and essential." And well, that is true for people, but when it comes to drinking water, that is not true. This advanced intelligent water that I am introducing you today, called Divinia, is literally H302, which is basically the exact water found inside your cells and your mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of your cells. So I'm really super excited to share with you, because this literally is the purest and most advanced bottled water. And I mean going through 16 purification processes and documented, scientifically verified by 7 universities that it's 1,000, not 100, not 10, 1,000 times purer than any other water on this planet, along with the veracity of its 6 unique properties. So it's really, really exciting. I've been drinking it for a couple years. And so I need to introduce Dr. Rostam Roy, who is a pioneering material scientist. He's a professor at Penn State University, and I think University of Arizona and Arizona State. And he said that after testing thousands of waters, he confirmed that Divinia water is the only one to have a true permanent increase in energy exchange. I'll be describing what that means, but basically this is huge, folks. There's also Dr. Jerry Pollack, for those that after this interview want to research further. And Jerry is a professor of bioengineering up in Washington State University. He's been a recipient of 38 prestigious awards. And Jerry Pollack, and he wrote the seminal book called The Fourth Phase of Water, Beyond Solid, Liquid, and Vapor, as well as did a couple TED Talks. And so what solid, liquid, vapor refers to with the first 3 phases of water means ice, water, and steam or gas. This 4th phase is almost magical, is the best term. It literally, the words the scientists are trying to find that fit it the most would be liquid crystal. And the fascinating thing about that is that's what our cells actually are. Okay? So if you want, there's a really, really profound video. It's a YouTube to watch. And it's this water does so many things, but it's basically about a man named Ralph Stanton in 2011, and he was a contractor working on site at Idaho National Labs, I believe it was. And he was exposed to uncontrolled release of plutonium. I mean, like, I think it was 10 to 100 times more than even astronauts get exposed to in terms of radiation. He and his partner were contractors there. They weren't told that there was a leakage. His partner ended up dying from it. So that the YouTube is about literally how he was pulled back from death, and by drinking Divinia water. And I'll just cut to the chase here. by just quoting a sentence or two sentences from him. My bone marrow and liver were completely full of iron, and I was in the beginning stages of kidney and liver failure as well. It has never been documented before in medical history that radiation could be brought out of kidneys, liver, and bone marrow in such a short time. I know it was due to the Divinia water. I didn't eat well, and in fact was so depressed from my extreme radiation poisoning, throwing up, and everything else that I began to drink on top of it. I started on Divinia seriously in January 2017, and on May 2017, my liver and kidneys were fully functional, and my iron levels were just slightly above normal. I would never have believed water could help like this. Had it not been for my wife insisting I drink it, I would be dead. I thank Stephen Settlemeyer, the CEO of Divinia, for saving my life. So powerful this water is, and I am stating now, as usual, that publicly we're not allowed to make any claims. I'm just a researcher, and I'm going to be using a lot of other people's quotes and testimonials to, as well as the 7 universities that verified that the claims of Divinia water in terms of its unique properties are valid. So let me just put it this way. If NASA, astronauts, and super soldiers drink 4th phase exclusion zone water, which is what Divinia is, and they do, then what does that tell you about the importance of this water for maintaining optimal health under stressful conditions or at any time? So I'm going to explain to you a little bit what 4th phase, which is also referred to as the exclusion zone, or referred to as easy. They often call it 4th phase easy water, capital E, capital Z, means. And I'm not I don't have a science degree, so I'm going to just say this as simply as I can, as I understand it. One of the things that I've seen the photographs of this actually true is that within a couple minutes of drinking this water, the toxins in your blood separate out. So it has incredible cleansing and detoxing properties, which I'm sure many of you dealing with health issues or just on the planet right now, basically detoxing is number one for health, and our bodies, I know, are constantly working so hard to try and eliminate the toxins that we end up accumulating faster than we can eliminate them. And many weight gain issues also, I know. I've been through this myself earlier, and many people I know. Not always, but a lot of that is from the body trying to store so many toxins in the fat to keep the poisons away from the organs, which are the most vital areas of your body. So on this beautiful water planet, which we all love, we all need, I feel, simple and easy solutions, because everyone has so much they're juggling right now, to cleanse and detoxify these water bodies that we're running around in. And you can't get easier than all you have to do is lift a bottle up to your lips and sip, okay? I mean, for the benefits you'll get, which I'll describe a little later. So I think how I'd like to start is just if you'd be willing to follow me along in a journey of how I discovered this truly restorative water, which involves some synchronicities, which I'm sure many of you have had in your life too. And I'm very stubborn about this, but I'm slowly learning about flow and to, listen more to that. So basically it started, I'm whatever I am, I don't even remember. I'm 66 years young, and this was way back when I was 19. I was in the hippie generation. I didn't do any of the hippie things. Don't ask me why. I just didn't drink, smoke, didn't do any of that. And I have a lot of apologies to give some people that I chided and ridiculed about when they talked about energy or things like that. And I would just say, oh, get more grounded and get real. So, yes, I was kind of in that stage of my life, and I decided to go to a Conscious Life Expo at the very end and just check it out. And everyone was closing down, and I found myself kind of directed to a corner where there was this little man. I'm not going to mention his name for privacy reasons, but I mean, literally little. He looked like a gnome. He was wonderful. And I don't do small talk really well. So I just walked up, and a fair amount of those people at those expo, there's a whole mix, as I'm sure a lot of you know. So a lot of are telepathic or, can have a sense or clairvoyant or read auras. So I walked up to him and I said, "Hi, who are you?" Because I was just attracted to him. He had a big smile on his face, and he was putting some kind of water away. And he said, "Hi, I'm so-and-so and so." "Oh." And I said, "So what do you do, make water?" And he said, "Well," he said, "yes, among other things." And he had been, there's a man who was in his 98 years old, and he was called the father of fluid dynamics, which is like the expert of water, basically. And at 98, he handed over all his work to this incredible scientist at the age, I believe, of 19 years old. This is the guy I'm talking to. I didn't know a lot about him at the time. Since then, I know he has over 200 patents, and amazing, humble, amazing man. And he said, "So I'm going to be finishing creating a very specific kind of water." And he just said to me, "Because I, like you," and I said, "By the way, my name is Merrily." He said, "I, like you, are from the future, Mar. And this water will not be coming out for a while, but it will be very important for people." And I said, "Does it have a name?" And he said, "Not yet, but maybe we'll call it fourth phase water." Now, this is when I was 19. So 55 years later, or whatever, 50 years later, I am listening to a friend of mine, and who's now a friend, on YouTube, who was one of the top insiders coming out, who had been off planet, on planet, everything else, jumping through everything else. And he just casually happened to mention, "Oh, yeah, all us astronauts. And when we jump portals, we take fourth phase water because it's so effective and you only need like a tenth of it," and blah, blah, blah. And I immediately remembered that talk from when I was 19 and went, oh my God, I have to. So I said, I have to contact this person. And then I went from there. So that was a synchronicity. And it was one of the few times in my life I felt compelled to bring it forward for my community. I'm up in Northern California, and I work with a lot of clients, and they always know me as a researcher. And so, and a body worker and all that. But I just said, you guys, I think I found something. Every part of me is just going, oh my gosh, we really need this. And I said, but I don't know if it's available public. I just know that all these super soldiers and everybody are doing this. I was told about it when I was 19, and I have to find it out. And I said, I have an idea. I said, if you give me a year to research it and try and find it, if I can find it and provide it for you guys at like a discount or something like that, or we do it as a community project, would you be interested in kind of being my guinea pigs? They're all good sports. And I said, trying it, because you all are wired differently. You all have different, different issues, everything from health to, super challenges. And I said, I want feedback on it. They said, sure, Mir. So the next $1,000 in an entire year. And I asked my, shall we say, just source to be directed if there was Divinia, if there was fourth phase water available to the public, not just super soldiers, because NASA also stole the CEO's patent, I'll tell you about, but he got it back. Anyway, I said that would be lovely. So I did my research. I found a couple who said they were doing it. I felt it was bogus. I didn't feel like it was really the one. And then I came across the Divinia family, Divinia. And, of course, the name is lovely. So I proceeded to read all the textbooks on it. I did everything. And then I contacted the family, and I said, who I was. And I said, I know you are working really hard, and you've been working the last 9 years on getting this out and all this, but I really have to meet you. I need to vet everything, and I would like to support a couple of you, because it's family run, to go to the most important water convention in the world, because they don't know that there is water that is, for instance, non-deuterium. I'll explain that in a minute. They don't know that. And I want you to have your water, and I want you to stand up. If you geyser who down. I won't get into all the details of it. They sold the water like mad, and the joy I had was spending 2 to 3 full days with him. And this is Stephen Settlemeyer, who is the CEO, and he is amazing. His lovely wife, Remy, and Kirsten, their daughter. This is very, 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 very family run. So Stephen, just to give you a sense of him, the CEO, he has over 20 patents to his name. He founded over 5 companies. He was the youngest recipient, I think it was a National Science Foundation grant, at 16 years old. He had jobs, of course, kind of underground in Martin, Marietta, NASA, things, places like that. So he also, which really got my attention, he invented fiber optic television, which is known as the predecessor to high definition television, or kind of plasma TV. Now, what struck me intuitively about that was, as far as I know, not being a scientist, that is based on liquid crystalline energy. So are we. And the interesting water that he makes is that it is also can morph into liquid crystalline energy, which is a higher level of what I call intelligent water. Now, I always laugh because, of course, everybody's selling everything and they never say stupid water. It's always smart water, smartphones, smart this. But I don't know what other term to say, but really intelligent water. And that was just kind of an interesting thing. I said, here's a guy who came from, underground, very pragmatic. And how he started, it's a beautiful story because his wife, who's fairly intuitive, she has a sensitive digestion, and she was drinking the tap water at their home. And she just said, honey, I think this water's making me sick. And he admits he kind of laughed at her, not on purpose, but he didn't know anything about water. And it wasn't his gig. It wasn't his, shtick, his thing. So, but of course, being who he is, he ended up tutoring, being mentored by the 2 top men, Dr. Gerald Pollack, who I mentioned, and also a man named Roy Rostam, who is probably considered the world expert on, basically he's a pioneering material scientist at Penn State University in Arizona and Arizona State. And he was the one who basically was kind of skeptical. He did mentor Stephen about good water and all the different things, but he was very skeptical because he basically said, look, everyone brings me. He said, I've tested thousands of waters. They all think their water's special. And quite frankly, it's really not. And he was the one that confirmed that Divinia water is the only one to have a true permanent increase in energy change. Okay, and I mean permanent. I mean this water you can store outside, you can store 200 degrees, it can be in your car. I usually have all my clients and community have 6 open at the same time all over their house with the top off, and it never loses its charge, its voltage, its oxygenation, its hydrogen abilities, etc., which I'll explain in a minute. So there's so much more to say about that. I'm really kind of a tough interviewer, and I ask what I would call spiritual questions. And I won't reveal everything I learned, but it was pretty much what I thought. I asked him, as I do many inventors, did you receive the final stage of your water through whatever you want to call it, God, source, a download? And he said, yes. Now, his water, Divinia water, they take it through 16 purification processes. I mean, it's insane. I mean, most of the bottled water is like 1. I mean, it goes through 16. And then he has a special, it's owned by him, intellectual property, so I'm not going to really get into what that is, but it's a signature he got as a download that maintains the 6 benefits and the charge and the quality and the pureness basically kind of forever. They tested it under all kinds of conditions for a year. And now the alkaline water filter I used to have that cost me $3,000, it would start losing its charge after 3 days, and you couldn't store it. So I'm sure you're starting to see the impact and the uniqueness of this higher state of water. And remember, this is identical to the water that, as another scientist said, this was how God intended water to be before we polluted it. So the body kind of, when you drink it, the body kind of recognizes it as itself, as its own water, and it can utilize it. And as I said, I'll tell you about 6 of the benefits. I found like 15 so far just in my own personal research. So that's basically what took me there. And then I came back, and then the family is so lovely, and they work like dogs. I mean, going to the convention I invited them to, I think that was the first vacation they had in 10 years. This is definitely a mission for them, directed on high, and they're beautiful, and they're hardworking, and they're high integrity, and I can't say enough about them. So I felt really, really, really good. So I came back, and I talked to my community, and I said, all of you guys have to order this. That's just it. So then I worked with the family, and I said, how can I get this? And I said, what if I order tons of pallets, and I provide it for the community, and we have a joint community pickup day, and I'd help them load it. And that's how we started, with like 7,000 bottles of water being shipped to us, and then doing that. So I've done that for a couple years. And these people are still on it. And so I'm not, allowed to say it does any health things, but I can read testimonials from people I know. These aren't strangers. These are people I know, clients, whatever, and I know I've been with them 30, 40 years. I know what they've been through. I know what a health thing. One is from a dear client of mine who I've known for 40 years, and it's, let me see if I can grab it here. Literally quote, okay, this is a quote. I'm 89 years old and drink 2 bottles of Divinia a day. Over the first 3 months, my health improved gradually and gently. At 3 months, I noticed my energy, focus, and creativity had increased 3-fold. Before, my cholesterol was at 220, and now it's 135. And my blood pressure was at 155/72, and now it's 125/65. The doctor was amazed. I have been diagnosed my whole life with fibromyalgia, edema, well, not her whole life, her last like 20 years, diagnosed with fibromyalgia, edema, congestive heart failure, and macular degeneration for 20 years. I'm not off all my medications yet, but I'm working on it. My vision went from 100 and 100 over 100 to 100 over 50. It's extraordinary and truly intelligent water. So I'm able to say that. All right. So at this point, I'd like to cover a couple more benefits of it that is unique, and then I'll be open to questions if you want. So I think I made clear one of the most important points here, and I'm making sure all my community clients online and offline are doing this, because it's not, unfortunately, it's not does. It is well worth it if you can afford it. That's why I was trying to work with the company and providing a way to have a discount, a slight discount, which they did give me permission to do because I've spent so much time studying it and I love it so much. So they are impeccable. Their packaging, just with the dividers, cost them $16. So it's not really a money-making thing. It's really, this is something I do on the side because I am passionate about it. And I have seen it bring 7 people back from death. I have also seen it in, a girlfriend of mine, Carrie. I'm not going to use last names. She has a wonderful cat who's who's much older, Bella, and she was starting to faint, have seizures and stuff. I said, instead of doing regular water, try Divinia water on her. Have her drink Divinia water out of the fountain, whatever. She said, oh my God, Merrily, within like a day. She's been steady. She's been steady ever since. Emery, another friend of mine who's the insider who came public, his dog was diagnosed, older dog also, diagnosed with cancer, a lot of other things. They gave 5 weeks to live. He started giving the dog's fourth phase water, and the dog is still alive today. I think it's a year and a half afterwards, and much more energy. So I could give you a lot of testimonies of that. And you can also go to www.divinia-discount. So Divinia is DIVINIA -discount.com. And on that, I have testimonials. I have all the science studies that back this water up. And then I also have a really quick way you can order it. And you can also contact me always, Merrily, at supersoulsolutions.com, and I can answer any questions because I want to get this out to the world. I'm mostly working in Northern California, but it's going all over the place. And people really don't know about it, but they're starting to. And where the sales really went up with kind of other distributors I talked to is the Mormons are all buying it up because they believe in storing things, having storage. And also on the quarantine thing, people needed a really obvious, come on, we're in water bodies living on a water planet. And the most important thing to do, and the biggest thing I found with most of my clients, especially as they get older, but most of my clients, is they are dehydrated without knowing it. So maybe I should go through a couple really quick science facts about dehydration because, we've heard our whole life like, oh, yeah, I should drink more water. I should drink more water, yeah. Or I don't like water. I don't like the taste. Or I drink tea. Does that count? And there's some things we really need to know. On that website I gave you, Divinia-discount.com, there's a quick button you'll press, and it will literally show you. You just have to plug in your zip code. It will show you how clean your tap water is. And I'm living up in, Marin County, kind of hooty place in a way. I was born here. And so, you would think it'd be like the healthiest place on the planet. And it had something like 28 carcinogens and radioactivity off the chart. Now, this water also helps with radioactivity. It's another thing I'm going to get to. So go to the website, just click on that click, and you'll see you can test your own tap water just for the safety of your pets and safety of your pets and family. You want to do that. And it's kind of humbling, okay? Now, some of you might have filters like I did. Like I said, I had an alkaline acid filter, $3,000 filter. But I have given that away to someone who really needed that, and I'm just on Divinia because you can get by with a lot less Divinia. I would say it's almost 10 times more hydrating than any other kind of regular water. I don't know that for a fact, but that's been my experience. So here are the issues, though, that this is going to be more and more and more and more important because clean water anywhere on the planet anymore. And so if we have to go through one more little quarantine thing in the fall or some kind of little drama thing, I'd really love it if you guys had some of this stored. And again, I keep mine in my car. It doesn't matter if it gets hot. It doesn't matter anything. You can store it outside. You can put it wherever. But I just feel better knowing people would have that for their loved ones. Because, as I said, I have to be careful here, but I have seen some pretty remarkable things. I will just say that. So just so you know, this is from scientific journals like consumerlab.com and Oxford Science Journals, things like that. The average tap water nationally has 11 carcinogens, including radon, which is radiation level, okay? Like, that's average. Because some people go, I'm just drinking maybe half tap water and then maybe going to the stores and buying water. And I'll tell you that in a second, too, what's in most bottled water. So Consumer Lab states, due to manufacturing pollution, let me pull this out. It is true that fragments and fibers of plastic, so there's something you may have heard of called microplastics. They are nanoparticles of plastics that have invaded everything. We are ingesting it. It's in our soil. It's in our water. And the scariest thing is it's actually in bottled water. It's in Himalaya sea salts and salts. It's in everything. And I'm just going to cut to the chase here. I have all the documents if you want. I have the science journals where this comes from. If you really want to read these, you can contact me. But they estimate or guesstimate that every person on this planet is ingesting a credit card size of microplastics a week. Okay, I think this is a huge issue, as well as heavy metals, bacteria, mold, all that. Well, guess what? This water, Divinia fourth phase cellular drinking water, is what? It's an exclusion zone. What does that mean? It separates the toxins out. Also, what does that mean? It's the only water that they have found that has been verified to have no microplastics. I'm talking 1,000 times purer than any other water. Okay, I wouldn't be wasting my time with this, truly. I've got so many different scientific inventions and stuff to bring forward, and it's like this is so over the top compared to most water. And the other thing about it, people go, really, I don't even care about the science of it. I trust you, but they said the taste is the best. It's almost like no taste. It tastes like water, and they all say, quote, and I mean all, they say it goes down so smoothly, it's like silk. So I'm really happy to say about 50% of my clients were dehydrated. They're not anymore, and they basically drink, and they want to drink. And as I said, the best thing to do is, if you're not a water drinker, you open up about 5 bottles, you put them all over your house, you just keep them open, and every time you see the bottle, you just sip like, say, a quarter of the bottle. The bottle comes in glass, recyclable, back to sand, which is awesome. Everything about this company is impeccable. There is no plastic that touches any part of the engineering at all. I wouldn't waste my time with anything less. These guys are amazing, and the water is beyond. And as I said, they've known about this water and black projects forever, which is underground projects, and they, they're advanced people that they care about use this. So I'm really excited that I have found a good source publicly. There is another source that they also use. It's called WATTA. I want to be fair here. WATT-AH. It's by a guy named Rob Gurley, who is also in underground projects. And it is plasma water, which is similar. And a lot of the astronauts and stuff use that. And no offense to Rob, he's a lovely guy, but I have 2 issues with it. One is it tasted like it had only been purified a little. I mean, you're going to be so spoiled as soon as you have Divinia. People go, I can't even drink anything else. I go, yeah. And the other issue I have with it is that it's in a plastic bottle. And at this point on the planet, I feel that that's unconscionable. I don't care what the reason is. I don't care if it works. And the data shows that too, that, the researchers, there's been much research about the amount of microplastics, heavy metals, arnica in bottled water itself. Like a study of, I think it was close to 260 bottles of water from 9 different countries showed that waters bottled in glass had significantly less contamination than those in plastic, which most of us know, right? Duh. But this suggests that the contamination doesn't just come from the water, which they said they found huge contamination in most bottled water, but also from the packaging itself, which was a polite way of saying plastic bottles. So, and the worst one was Nestle Pure Life water. So no offense to them, but that was a scientific study done. So in terms of having no microplastics, in terms of detox hydration ability, in terms of detoxing ability, in terms of the highest level of ox. Now, I know these scientists go, what, really? It has 102% bioavailable oxygen. And I'll tell you how I prove this to myself. But this was a happy accident for the Divinia family, because Divinia, let's say when Divinia put the water through its 16 stages of purification, which takes them 8 hours at least, the water did a vortex spin. I don't know if you know about vortex science, but you don't need to know about all that. But did a vortex spin, which was not on purpose, but rather like a happy accident. And what that does is it brought in more oxygen to the water while it was distilled and turning into vapor. So the company does not artificially or intentionally pump oxygen into the water, which is why it doesn't escape. The oxygen is dissolved in Divinia water as a natural result of the product, and this was verified by testing at the Isotopes Lab at UC Davis, which is my alma mater. So who doesn't need more oxygen? Thank you very much. Talking about oxygen, hydrogen, I'm talking about bioavailable, like your body gets it and it is 100% available. The other thing that makes this water really rare is that it's called deuterium depleted water, which is a really fancy term, which kind of means super simplistically it is more bioavailable to your cells and helps restrain free radicals. Now, this next part I have to be really careful about. Deuterium depleted, when I invited the Divinia family to go with some of the scientists I know and be at this convention, a speaker stood up and said there's no deuterium depleted water. There's no deuterium free water on the world. But he said there's no deuterium depleted water. And that's when Stephen, the CEO, stood up and said, yes, there is. It's right here. And he sold out and like, boom, right? So how do I say this? When I was, I'm going to let you guys figure this out. When I was healing myself quickly from the big C word, as in cat, but C word, this water contains a very sweet spot of deuterium. Like too much is not good, too little is not good. That had a positive effect on the healing. Okay, so that's another unusual thing about this. And as I've already told you, you can store it indefinitely. That is unheard of in any water anywhere. It comes in glass recyclable bottles. So for now, you do recycle them in your glass bins, but in the future, we're looking into, New Zealand has a machine in their bar that basically grinds it into sand in 4.2 seconds. So that will be down the line. Right now, these guys are, just working their pants off to keep up with the demand, because really, once you do this is it's going to spoil you. All right, so we've covered a lot of the benefits, not all of them, but a lot of them, and I want to be able to answer your questions. So I know you're going to ask me about dosage. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I'm going to have to do this carefully too. I would say that the 6 people who turned themselves around, and I mean were given 1 week to 2 weeks to live, gallon a day, because they said, I didn't change anything else. I didn't change how I ate. Nothing else works. I knew I thought I was going to die. In all their cases, these were men, and their wives made them do this. They said, look, this is our last hope, and I can't know that you have gone without us trying this. And he said, well, we can't afford it. And she said, well, we can sell the car. There's nothing more important to me than you. And we should know within a month or 2 if it's going to help. And we can't afford this. She said, I've already done the work and all of this kind of stuff. So they basically are all living and prospering right now. Okay. For affordability, what I tell people, I said, if you're a highly sensitive person, you're fairly healthy, and are finely tuned, if you know what I mean. Whereas if you took a regular med, it would be too strong for you. That's what I call finely tuned people. I would say the minimum a day, again, I'm not diagnosing, I'm just saying from what I've learned from other people, is 1 bottle a day, which is 16 ounces. Most people that I'm working with are doing 2 bottles a day. They can afford that, and like I said, the rest is up to, I've done all kinds of experimentation. I've done as much as 8 a day. I've done none a day. I've done 1 a day. I've done things like that. Now, I'm sure that the audience, being sophisticated here, knows about Masaru Emoto's work that literally illustrates how intention, thought, and sound goes directly into water and can poison or uplift it. And I also have to apologize to that, because I made fun of that, of blessing your water, when I was young. I thought that was all hoo-hoo. And, of course, it's very valid, as long as you're not just, uttering mindlessly. So if you don't know his work, please check out Masaru Emoto's work. the water changed by thought, sound, and intention into beautiful. And I'm sure most of you know this. So what you may not know, and I can't tell you who said this to me because he revealed it to me in private, and he is very, very, very advanced. And so what I do know from my own internal work and research on water for over 20 years, and you find a lot of this with scientists from Bosnia and Russia and stuff, they know about this. They know water is intelligent. What you may not know, I know you know what telepathy is, okay? That's like mind to mind, emotion to emotion, where it's a normal human ability that has been squelched enough to know what another person is thinking, feeling, and to be able to relay that. And when we first came here in bodies, we were able to do that with the planet. The planet was able to do that with us. We could communicate back and forth with plants, with animals, with the planet. So the water, being on a water planet in a water body means something. The water, especially in liquid crystalline form, which was the true water on Earth in the early phase, which Divinia fourth phase water is a telepathic medium. Now, I'm going to read this quote. I was debating whether I should or not. I am not going to reveal the name because this may not make sense to some people, but I want you to know how advanced this water is, and it's super safe. Okay, there's nothing in it. There's not any toxins. In fact, I will tell you that as far as I know, I'm the only one distributing 10X Divinia because I guess that they might have it. It takes them 80 hours to make it. It's 10 times stronger than drinking Divinia. You don't want to waste your money. It's $33 a bottle. So I have some of my clients that love to experiment. I said, experiment on your eyes because it's super, super, super clean, and on your skin. So I went to a facialist who didn't know what she was doing, and my chest, I think she didn't have a clean tool, and my chest broke out, bacterial infection, and the normal things didn't work. And I sprayed the 10X, which means 10 times stronger Divinia. I just put it in a spray bottle. I sprayed it on my chest, just let it air dry twice a day, and in 2 days it was gone. So that's just like another advanced thing. If you wanted to experiment with that, I really don't put that out publicly. As I said, I've been mostly working with this area, and it's starting to branch out because people are hearing about this. So here's the quote that I wanted to tell you. This is not from me. Think Tibetan Lama type person, okay? Okay. Most people to this day do not know about Gerald Pollack's proof of easy fourth phase water that is in human bodies or about all of its dynamic characteristics. It is indeed a telepathic medium. It has 5 levels of programmability far beyond any known computer capability on Earth, and it has extraordinary cleaning and healing properties. This fourth phase water can be the battery, the computer program, and transmitter beyond the speed of light to connect with and communicate through the farthest reaches of creation to fellow benevolent beings, both through the vast oceans of Earth, providing you honor and know yourself as a soul and are working with developing being awake and fully aware. As you become more awake and fully aware, these higher capabilities will be able to utilize this fourth phase advanced water as it was meant to be. End quote. And that just came last week out of the clear blue. And I haven't even, discussed that with the CEOs and the family. So you can take this on any level. It's so safe because there is no contaminants in it, but it is also wonderfully tasting and light. My one other quick story, and then I want to take some Q&A because we're coming to hour goes so fast. My sister-in-law, who's wonderful, very pragmatic, and she just buys the Divinia because she says it tastes really good and it's light, and I end up drinking more and being properly hydrated. And I didn't go through the science of how, and this is proven scientifically because we don't have time. I could go through and tell you how many diseases and how dehydration, because you don't know you're dehydrated most of the time, how your brain is 86% water, how it doesn't know how to store water, how everything you think and do and how effective you work, your focus, your attention, that if you are properly hydrated, you can, shall we say, stay healthy no matter what label you have for the most part. Now, also, when it's proper water, it's like food, especially this. And I know because I won a world championship fasting for 40 days on water and doing nothing else, and I lost no muscle mass or anything. So it's basically for anyone, grandma, parents, whatever, and you can take it to whatever level you want. So go check out Divinia It's a really simple website I created, and you basically can buy a case of 12, 24, or a 1 or 3 month subscription of 12 or 24 bottles that are delivered to you every week, and it's real easy. And you can try it out, and if you have questions, call me. But anyway, let's take some questions, Nicole, if you're cool with that.
Absolutely. I'll just let you know that I've pre-screened all the callers on the board. They're all in listening mode, but and this is a direct quote, finding this fascinating. General question. Good. So in the email, the first predominant overall general question that several people have is, what is the physical difference of this water versus like alkaline or non-alkaline? I always get those two backwards, or filtered water or plain water.
Great. Yeah, great question. Okay, first of all, Stephen wanted to help heal the stomach issues of his wife, who had gluten intolerance and other things. So he studied, and he's of course a genius, but he studied water for the first time in his life, and by these excellent guys. So he feels that having a pH of 7, which is neutral, above that's alkaline, below that's acid, having a pH of 7 is the best for the water to utilize this quality of water any way it needs and how it wants. So it's a 7 pH. But it is not just structured water. The ways, basically how it's different, it's the only water okay, here's one other point I need to make to you that most doctors don't know. You have to have 36 volts operating in your body, because you're an electromagnetic being, to repair and regenerate cells. End of subject. Okay? This has amazing voltage and charge. So this water is 1,000 times more purified than any other water tested. It has 102% available oxygen, and that was verified by me, by me going to a woman who has the top bio feedback machine in the world. There's only 100 like it. And the first 3 minutes, you can tell 65,000 parameters about yourself. And she was so shocked, because she goes, oh, my God, Merrily, you're like showing up 102% oxygen and hydrogen. This machine can't even do that. What's going on? Okay, so that gives you an idea of that. It's so beyond what most waters are. You don't need to worry about alkaline and acidity. Alkaline is useful for certain things, but not particularly when you're eating. There's a whole different science of that. So he wanted to make this safe for everyone, neutral for everyone, so the body can handle it. And his wife's stomach situations have profoundly cleared up. I just had a client come to me who's been listening to me talk about this for 2 years. She's like, yeah. She finally goes, oh, Merrily, you gave me a couple bottles the other day. She always has stomach issues. And she goes, my stomach issue cleared up. So, everyone does this in their own time. The other thing is you have to have water that is very advanced in glass. and the fact that this can biodegrade back to sand. So those are kind of the deuterium depleted water that people are trying to make it. This is natural. It comes from Idaho Falls, by the way. So the bioavailable hydrogen, the activated oxygen, the fact that it is cellular light. I actually think it contains more light. As a lot of you know, light equals intelligence, equals photons, equals information. So those are all the ways it's different. We got a couple more?
We do,
questions?
but
hopefully that answers your question.
The system's going to cut us off in 6 minutes because we're almost at the top. So I think it might be best to use that time to kind of do a wrap-up, main takeaways, and, letting people know how they can order this.
Okay, well, all I'm going to say is just go to Divinia-discount. I still would love to take one more question. Divinia-discount.com. Okay, Divinia, Divinia-discount.com. You'll see a really simple website where you can order. And you can also go to the company's website called diviniawater.com. They have a much more extended program there. And then you can contact me at Merrily at supersoulsolutions.com.
Okay, next question. And bear in mind, system's cutting us off in 5 minutes.
Okay,
I got a little timer in front of my face. So the next question that came in through email is people were wondering what personal reactions and changes you've had by ingesting this water.
First of all, I'm not normal, which is why I have my entire 400-person clientele all testing it and giving me feedback because I'm much more interested in how other bodies work. I have always healed fast, and I don't have a lot of issues. But I do have, I'm not like I have super abilities, but I do have direct knowing. And then I back engineer it. So I get I'm kind of ahead of my time, just put it that way. I get that something's out there or something is real or something's going to work. I find it, and then I do all the science and vetting and stuff to find out that if what I thought worked. So basically, I can't drink any other water other than this. I can. But it's like night and day, just from a taste viewpoint. I've always had 90% energy. Now I have 110% energy. I'm healthy. I have definitely noticed detoxing, skin clearing up, eyesight clearing up, because I've been on it 2 years. I didn't have any major issue that I was working with. But I am spraying some in my eye because I had been a swimmer, so I had a little film on the eye thing. That is slowly disintegrating. Again, these are anecdotal. I'm not saying that this works for everyone. And I just absolutely know in the core of my being that this is the best water on the planet because I'm a water baby. I swim, whatever, the best water on the planet, or I wouldn't be spending my time doing this. And I have studied water, both internationally, for at least 20 years. So it's beyond. And I do believe it's more intelligent. I do believe that it is the cleanest water. I have no question about that. I mean, it's not even a question. I've seen the science. It's just amazing. So it's not like, it brought me back from the death or anything. I've seen it work on a lot of animals. I did it on a plant. They are separately, it's not public yet, doing experiments on plant and anti-cancer things. And they're having some very interesting. Do know that I spend a lot of time interviewing, kind of eccentric geniuses, the real things, as well as people who have a very expansive life, like literally go off planet, literally do things that most people don't even bear. And these guys are drinking this and have been for a long time. So, and they have to stay in super health. So those are mostly things that I've experienced. So it's not so drastic. It's just that I absolutely 100% know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that helps.
It does indeed. 2-minute warning. So I'll tell you, we had a really cool question about getting more into the telepathic aspect, but perhaps on another show in the future. Just want to put a pin in that one. So 1 minute and counting and clicking away.
We can do that. I would have to ask a guest to be willing to come in so that we can take what he's teaching to the next level, because I've just done some baby introduction about it, and it has to do with soul science and being aware, because, here, as you know, we're programmed to just feel, we're bodies, and hopefully we can contact and be in our soul that is in the realms above the lower world, but very few people have that. They're contacting lower fourth astral, they're doing all kinds of different things. So being the title of my show being Super Soul Solutions, not only is it solutions for souls, but I am very committed, just actually recently, I would say in the last 6 months, that I want our abilities back online. I want everyone knowing they're a soul operating a body. I want them to come back to being what I call a normal human that is found out, that exists all throughout the cosmos, that has amazing abilities, and I think we'll get there. And between the audience here and me, I know that this water is one of the ways to get there. And again, I have to be careful what I say.
We've got 10 seconds, just long enough to give out your website one more time.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. So it's Divinia, DIVINIA -discount.com. That I just set up so that people that aren't in my area order really quickly at a slightly reduced price. Believe it or not, this sells for $5.68 a bottle at Weirwan in LA and stuff like that. My pickups, if you're in Northern California, which I'm sure many of you aren't, I do every 2.5 months pickups and only sell it for $3.75 a bottle. But most of the time when you order, the shipping, the way it's packaged so carefully in boxes is what really is costing a lot, and you're probably paying about $4.20 a bottle. But you know what? You pay that at Starbucks, and this has such a more profoundly deepening enlightenment effect.